Now, you talked about 41,000 suppliers in Europe, but aren't you forgetting Airbnb experiences, where you can have not 41,000, but hundreds of thousands of, everyone can put up an experience now, an Airbnb experience.
No, you're... Is it working? Yeah,
I think it's working. Yeah.
It is. No, you're right. I mean, that figure is definitely underestimated. So it was based on the Focusrite last research about tours and activities in worldwide, and that figure was explicitly told as underestimated. So you're right. There are plenty of other activities and other things to do, which I think are adding more value to the old chain. Obviously, there is a big differences, I think, between the Airbnb-like experiences and the type of experiences that we, as let's say, a more traditional reseller of tours and activities have been dealing with. The majority of the tours and activities that we are selecting on Musement are very much professional tours and activities instead of being user-generated type of activity as it is with Airbnb and other aggregators.
Right. Andrew, how do you see the entry of Airbnb experiences to your business?
I mean, slightly differently. I see it as a very exciting opportunity. Same as Claudio, I think that then does, underestimates the potential of the industry as well. I mean, as at TripAdvisor, we operate a marketplace, and I think our view of the experiences market is that there's something out there for everyone. So I think that those individual experiences can be of extremely high quality and can be of a unique value to a particular customer. So I think it's our job to make sure that those experiences have the vehicle to get to the right customer.
And you see the two concepts converging in the future?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll be launching an individuals platform to sell tours and activities as part of TripAdvisor experiences. We already sell individual experiences through that platform as it is, but I think some refinements are certainly needed to get the best out of those experiences and make it work for those operators.
Talking about China. One thing I learned is that we don't just have one internet. We actually have two. There's a Chinese one and a Western one. How do you see the Chinese segment on your platforms? Is it growing? Is it small? Is it big? Where?
Definitely growing. A lot smaller than the other parts of our business at the moment, for sure. And I think the way that we've always attracted traffic to TripAdvisor as a channel is a lot through search, both natural and paid-for search. And obviously, this is a very different model. I think we've had to be quite creative with the partnerships that we've worked on with different operators over there. But I think from a supply perspective, I mean, although the supply that we're trying to show to Chinese visitors is slightly is different, I think the approach is similar. In the idea of internationalization and showing things to people that are relevant to what they're going to want to do in their language, and content that they're going to be that's going to be attractive to them, is similar for a Chinese visitor to Europe as for a French visitor to the United States.
But which Chinese platform do you consider your main competitor in Europe?
I would say. Do you want to go first?
Say it.
So, no, I think there's obviously been some really significant investments. I think Klook has been certainly a platform that's they've grown very rapidly, and they're very good at focusing on the Chinese market.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the market is growing, that's for sure. We, as Musement, had just a slightly different approach with China, because we were not as strong as TripAdvisor and other players in the market. So we were very much concentrated and focusing on American travelers coming to Europe, or Europeans going into Europe or into the United States. So everything we have done so far with China have been done through partners, so local partners. So we have been providing tours and activities to Chinese platforms, which is something that has been working quite nicely so far. We're now expanding. Obviously, amusement, it's something that I haven't mentioned, is not, let's say, scale up anymore, is now part of a definitely bigger, much bigger group, which is TUI. So we have been acquired recently by the TUI group. So in this terms, things are evolving in a different way, especially within the TUI environment, the TUI ecosystem, which is definitely important.
We have time for 1 or 2 questions here, and we have 2 up here in the back. I'm just stepping out here so I can see you from the light. Questions for Andrew and Claudio.
Hello. So that's a question for TripAdvisor. So there's probably many suppliers here, and
speak up a little bit.
Hello.
Please. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So it's a question for TripAdvisor. So there's probably many suppliers here, and the question is, how is TripAdvisor seeing themselves resolving a slight conflict of interest between representing all businesses that are listed and reviewed, and then only selling some of them?
I mean, I guess there's always a balance. I guess what I would say is that it's an open marketplace, so there isn't a restriction on any business being sold on TripAdvisor. So those listings exist there. They're managed and they're operated by suppliers, and all you would have to do is to hit the sign-up link to be sold as well.
There's a slight difference because you may not want to be selling at 25% commission, for example.
Well, so I guess again, it's a business choice for you as a business. If you want to use TripAdvisor, Amusement, Get Your Guide, or any of those other distribution channels as something that complements your own direct business. But I think our approach is to provide you the best tools to be successful and to do whatever we can to try and assist you to do that. Happy to discuss it afterwards if you'd like to. Okay,
thank you on that note. Next, please. We have 2 more over here, I think. Okay, you.
Yeah, just thought I'd ask really quick. Claudio, you mentioned the uptake of technology is like 20% for a lot of these guys, for the operators. Where do you guys expect that to go, say, in like 5 years? Are we looking at 80% that they adopt technology, or is it going to be like 40%? Do you guys have a model for what you believe that'll be?
We don't have a model. We are just analyzing what is happening between us and all the suppliers that we are getting in relationship with. I would say that I do not have a clear idea of what's going to be like in the next 5 years, but I'm sure that everything will be definitely growing a lot. So that 20% will probably become 50% very soon, even before the next 5 years, because I see things moving, which is great. My only concern, and it's about Europe in particular, as a supply ecosystem, is that we are definitely lagging a little bit behind other countries. So I see much more engagement with reservation system technology, useful for the suppliers in the United States, in Australia, in Asia, a little less in Europe. So, and I think that the real problem here is just sharing a little bit more of knowledge. At least this is something that I see, especially in Italy, but also in France, in other countries in which we operate a lot. There is just a lack of knowledge.
Okay, over here.
Good afternoon, thank you. My question is, as we grapple with what constitutes an experience and as we see the advent of hybrid spaces across Europe, how are digital platforms such as Musement and TripAdvisor adapting to service prospective travelers who maybe aren't looking for the conventional lodging, dining attractions, but want to have that kind of elusive lifestyle experience as they make a trip to Western Europe? Is there a place for that to be addressed on a digital platform, or are travelers going to begin looking towards Airbnb?
Good one.
Well, actually, as Musement, we work with all the major attractions and all the, let's say, mainstream type of tours and activities, as well as some other more niche activities and things to do provided by, let's say, independent tour providers. We have, I would say, the same type of approach, which is an approach based on different use cases. Like, for instance, we have different use cases based on what is happening on desktop and what is happening on the app, because we think that the app is mostly used while in destination, so you have different needs, whereas the desktop, especially for Europeans and Americans, is mostly used to book the experience, to actually pay and purchase the experience. And so the technology-driven approach, the customer experience type of approach is something that we try to provide to any type of experience. We actually select. One difference that maybe is not as clear as it should is that we as Musement are not really an open marketplace, in the sense that we haven't been accepting everything. We have been trying to, let's say, select as much as possible our supply instead of being open every time. Probably in the beginning because we were very small, but now because we think that this is a value for the final customer.
Yeah, and to be honest, I see our approach is very similar, like focusing on maximizing the supply quality, so ensuring that the reviews of every product that is available on our website is of high quality in the reviews. Our team of account managers, I mean, it's their job to be reaching out to the supplier concerned and highlighting any review issues. But certainly as an open marketplace, like we do see that there is a type of product for everyone. That's not necessarily everyone's going to want to be on a coach tour. Perhaps they want to be on a dinner in the sky. I saw something pretty amazing online last week in Athens. You can now go and have a dinner on top of a crane, which is just incredible. But so not for the faint-hearted. But lots of these different more experiential types of activities are coming about, and it's not driven by TripAdvisor amusement. It's driven by the customer and what they want to do.
Okay, thank you very much. I know Andrew and Claudia is going to be here. Claudio is going to be here during the coffee break, tea break also in a minute. So if you want to talk, give them a big hand, please.